Good morning. It's time to get in touch. In Touch is a public affairs show dedicated to improving the lives of Susquehanna Valley residents. I'm Freddi Hammer, news director at Backyard Broadcasting. For Easter Sunday, I thought we'd enjoy a visit from a local woman finishing her bachelor's degree at Lycoming College who wrote her first young adult chapter book called An Orange Dog Named Blue. And she's on her world book tour right now, I'm thinking is what it's true. This book is precious. It's EP Klopp. Thanks for joining us today, EP.
Thanks for having me.
It's really nice to see you in the studio, and I absolutely love An Orange Dog Named Blue. What age group is this book?
This is for ages 9 through 12, but I've had people of all ages come up to me and say how much they love it, so that's been pretty precious.
I do too. It's like anybody who loves dogs or pets in any way wants to relate to Wally in this book.
Oh, yes.
Well, tell me about your life. Have you been a writer all your life?
I joke with my mom, and I remember there was one day I sat down on the couch with her. I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I wrote my first book. It was like 4 sentences long.
Did you staple it together and put tape on it and stuff?
No, it's a purple notebook. It's somewhere in my bedroom. I need to find it, but it's about a cat and an owl and their friends, and that was probably the 4 sentences right there.
That's wonderful. So you were encouraged probably from a young age to, or at least driven yourself to write a little bit.
To write and draw and just be creative in all ways, really.
That's one of your early memories of writing. Do you have any other? It's grade school and doing things and getting encouraged that way?
Oh, I don't even remember what grade we started. I think it was first grade. I remember getting my cat, who's 16 now. We had to write a story about like something that was really important to us. I wrote about finding Leah, who's actually my author logo on the back of my book.
Oh, I love that.
That's the kitty cat. Yep.
Oh, how cute. I do like that. You can check that out when we get to it, we'll have a little bit of some video options here for our podcast and for our In Touch program today. I always wondered about wondering about your upbringing as far as your family. Did your family have a lot of wordplay and different things going on? Did that happen in your house that sort of spawned you to use words and be creative?
We had a lot of story times every single night we were read to from, I don't even remember how many years, but we always had a book. We had book series we would read, chapter books, picture books.
Wouldn't you say that that's so important for kids' development? I mean, look at what you've done with your education now from that.
I honestly miss it so much. I'm not going to lie. Like, it is so important, and this is one of the reasons why I love writing, because it's something that hopefully parents can pick up this book as well as kids and go, you know what, this is fun. Let's have story time after school, before bed, in the morning. Whenever.
Yes, it's entertainment. This was entertainment from years ago, as far as reading around the fire and talking, and we can do it again today. Take away the electronics and let's bring back books and hold them in our hands.
The good paper smell, yes.
Yes, I love that. Tell me a little bit about how you developed An Orange Dog Named Blue. When did it start? How did it get going?
So this started back, I want to say May of 21.
Okay.
My dad he just got our puppy, who is on the cover of the book.
Oh,
that's
so
Finn.
Cute. Finn. It's precious.
And before we got him, he had a blue collar on in the pictures at the breeder. And Dad kept saying, oh, I think I like the blue pup. The blue. He's like, I don't know if I could have a dog named Blue. And my brother goes, oh, have an orange dog and name him Blue. That would be something. So I kind of just jotted that down. I'm like, that sounds like a book title in the making.
Yes.
So as I was working with him and taking him on like little walks outside and taking care of him, babysitting him, I'm like, you're a book, sir.
Yes.
You're a book. So when he would sleep, I'm like, okay. So it was over summer, and I was doing work in a theater, and I had a lot of time off in between before the show started and that kind of stuff. So I would sit down and write a little bit. So
every time you had a little paragraph here, a little paragraph there, and then you put it together, like, do you write a book the same way in every genre? I mean, how do you start? Just like that, with little paragraphs.
For me, it starts with words. Like this one, I remember my keywords were like rain, dirt, mud, swing, apple.
Okay.
Because we had an apple tree that finally gave us apples after I don't even know how many years. And of course, we're like, oh, we have apples, we can try them. And, well, the dog ate them. So apple was one of my keywords. So in the opening of the book, we see our main character sitting under an apple tree. So it started out with that, and I would pretty much lay down, like, here's the scene, how I want it to happen. I know we want to meet Blue and Wally. We want to see the town. We want to meet G.B. Goodfellow, you know.
Yeah.
And then we go in order and then fill out those one sentences and make them longer, have 100 points. And then you go into the paragraphs and stuff. And sometimes a paragraph would pretty much write itself before I even had that scene blocked out. It's like, all right, That's where we're going. We're going into a cave. Awesome.
You're taking me back to the time when you started to write term papers and taking one little part and building and building.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize that that's how you did it. I never tried to write a book before.
For me, that's what works because I can see it in order and I can read through that layout and go, yes, this is going to work. Or, oh, 0.75 is a little weird. Let's fix that one before we move forward.
Do you put sticky notes on the wall? Sometimes you see that on TV. I'm just thinking in a romantic sense. Do you put them on the wall so that you can see it all?
Sometimes I'll jot down on a piece of paper and kind of like, I have a notebook that I have everything in.
Yes.
But yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Did you go through those stereotypical rejection letters that you see as well, or did you get a chance to self-publish this book?
I self-published through Amazon, which was a challenge at first, but now it's been super easy. I've loved working with them, but it's been easy for me to do that because I had a quick turnaround. I told myself, I'm like, all right, August 23rd is my release date. I go back to school a week after that. I want to get this out before I go back and start my senior year.
Sure.
And I was able to hit that.
Good job.
Yeah.
What did your faculty friends and people that you worked with at Lycoming College talk about when this happened? You got back and you had published.
Oh, the faculty has been amazing. I've had 3 main professors who have been really my mentors and my cheerleaders through this whole thing. In our film department, Stephen St. Francis Decky, he's one of my editors, actually. He works through it with me. Jay Honorarity in the theater department is like my personal cheerleader. He is awesome. He's been with me working through this like day one. I told him this is what I want to do, and he's been coaching me and helping me. And then Jennifer Irwin, she's one of the business chairs. She has been the most patient and helpful person because we learn so much in business classes. I'm like, all right, here's a concept we learned. I need to take it 2 steps above and actually apply it to a business.
Sure.
Help.
That's great. And you have those resources available at Lycoming College. And I'm sure you're not the only one that they can help like that.
Oh, they're a fantastic bunch. Yeah, it's been awesome.
Your Bachelor's of Arts degree that you're working on.
Yes.
Is it with a literature emphasis? What's your major?
So I'm a technical theater major.
Oh, okay, cool.
With 2 minors, one in business administration, the other in entrepreneurship.
Do you think that you'll be writing anything for the theater?
I'm already a produced playwright.
Excellent. What's that called?
Okay, so I directed a show called 3 of an Unlikely Kind. My senior year of high school, I've had another one of my plays produced called The Tragedy of Daughters and Sons Murder Mystery. That's been done. Wrote a show with the Grand Traveler and Scrim Youth Theater in Milton called Family Chaos. That was a Zoom play we did. Worked on an Alice in Wonderland adaptation for them, and I recently just finished 2 plays for Redder Entertainment in New York City with 2 different youth classes, and the kids came up with a synopsis and the characters and the plot, and he said, all right, I need someone to help me put this into words for... One group was 8 through 10, the other was, I believe, 10 through 12.
Okay.
So they're producing it later this month, I believe.
Gosh, so this is really kind of a step. Writing An Orange Dog Named Blue is almost a step away from what you had been used to making through the pandemic and through the beginning of college.
And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do it, because I was so used to dialogue. I got to the point where it was like, all right, I need to try a new medium.
Yeah.
Because writing dialogue and writing prose are 2 very different things. I was ready to take a step back and go, all right, let's try this.
Sure.
How does this work? And you can... When you read through it, you can definitely, I think, tell there's a little bit of theatrical dialogue in here, I think.
Yes, I do love it. Well, let's hear a little bit about the story. Give us a little overview and then read a little bit for us. I want to hear your voice doing these cute scenarios.
All right, so the book An Orange Dog Named Blue takes place in 19-something in a tiny little farm town called Emerville. And we meet our main character, Wally, as he's sitting outside and he hears something lurking in the grass behind him. Turns out it's a precious little dog he names Blue, and the 2 of them go on an adventure, go through the town, and they end up solving a crime together. Yeah, and the whole story is really just focusing on how we need to love each other and how we need to stand up for each other and really need to work towards that in society, and I think it's a pretty precious story.
Well, let's hear a little bit from An Orange Dog Named Blue by E.P. Klopp.
All right, so here is a section out of Chapter 5 called Showtime. Wally and Blue are sitting in town watching a traveling theater come through. Blue and I sat on packing crates close to the tent site watching the ensemble work. In less than an hour, the tent was up, the band was unloaded, and all the performers were dressed in even more glitzy outfits than they came in. Townsfolk began to crowd the entrance, and Blue and I swiftly joined. We all formed a line and shuffled our way closer and closer until I was at the front. There were 2 folks handing out tickets. One was a young man with bright eyes. The second man looked as if he hated everything. Step aside. You can't bring that flea bag in here. Said the meaner looking ticket taker. Roy, he handed the tickets to the younger man. Take over for me. I stepped aside with Blue. Animals aren't allowed in the tent, the ticket taker told me. I understood, but Blue was still learning. The small pup began to follow the line into the tent. Hey! Just as Blue turned to face him, the man kicked dirt into Blue's face. I said no. You have no right to kick dirt on him. He's done nothing to you. He's a dog. He's not worth the same as you and me. Yes, he is. The man scratched his beard for a moment. All right, fine. If he's worth the same as you, then you're going to have to buy him a ticket. Same price as yours. I searched for the coins in my pocket, but with no luck. I tried again and again, checking all of my pockets of my overalls. Nothing. Came to my shirt pocket, and that was empty too. What's the matter there? Said the man. They're gone, I whispered to myself in shock. Speak up. I don't have the money, sir. You don't have no money? Well, ain't that a shame, kid? He spat on the ground a few inches from my feet. Now that's a real shame. Swift as a jackrabbit, the ticket taker reached for us. He took a hold of Blue's bandana and the collar of my shirt. What you doing there, Buck? A man dressed in a fine suit approached us. Buck released Blue and me, and my pup growled as I rubbed my neck. I don't think you're living up to the company motto. Say it with me now. All are welcome, they said in unison. That's it. Magnus shook his finger in the air. Then he looked at me. Young man, what are you getting into trouble for? He wouldn't let my dog come in with me, and he kicked dirt in his face, and then he said he wasn't worth the same as us, and then he tried to throw us into the street. I don't think that's why you're getting into trouble. I stared at my feet, hoping he wouldn't call me a liar. I think you're getting into trouble for doing the right thing, and old Buck doesn't want to hear it. Am I right, Buck? Buck grumbled something under his breath. Magnus nudged me. I'm right. Blue and I both smiled. Magnus turned back to Buck. One more thing. I suggest you treat our guests awfully nice. Magnus stuck his hands into his pockets. It isn't their fault you've been demoted to ticket taker. You're the one who loaded the whole tent onto the wrong train and caused the whole show to be behind. Buck grumbled something under his breath, something that my mom wouldn't appreciate me repeating. Now, Buck, I'm going to spend the day thinking about what I'm going to do with you. I have no problem replacing you, so I suggest you learn how to be kind. The gruff man turned away and pretended to count tickets. As for you, young man, I'm about to watch the show, and you and your furry friend can sit right next to me. And if anyone has an issue, well, then I guess I'm going to have to sort it out now, won't I? Thank you, sir. And into the tent we went. It only took a few moments for the show to start.
That's wonderful. E.P. Klopp from An Orange Dog Named Blue, 5th chapter. That's a wonderful story. And who's the person that we met?
Magnus is he's the leader of the company, of the theater company that comes through.
Okay, so he's in charge.
Yes, we meet him a little bit earlier, and we learn that he's a very dapper gentleman, but he's also very, very kind and very generous.
So it gets you thinking about who are the people in this story and who could the characters be that perform some of the actions in this story. By the end, we figure it all out. But Wally and Blue figure it all out, of course.
Oh, yes.
It's a wonderful story, and I'm wondering about if it started the way you thought. Did it end the way you think it would end?
Oh, it evolved.
Mm-hmm.
It evolved plenty. There were moments I had to cut. It was going to be longer than this with prologue and epilogue and all that, and the more I worked with it, the more I realized there were parts that just weren't fitting.
Sure. Do you think that you'll write more for this age?
Or
is it okay? You're liking this age a lot?
Oh, yes. So this is actually the first book in the Hope and Heartland series.
Okay.
So this takes place in Emerville, which is a small town in the county I call Heartland, and I have 3 more books coming up in this series. The next one I'm hoping to release this October.
Wonderful. That's exciting. What's that? Do you have a title for that yet?
I do.
Okay, you're not going to release that until it's time.
We got a little bit of time to wait before I release it, but I will say it takes place in a tiny little cabin in the middle of a woods with a sweet girl named Doro and her lovely cat Rose.
I love these stories. These are set in our area. In fact, this particular story, it could almost be taking place right in like Loganton or something like that.
For me, I thought about where Wally lives. It's Elamsport into Towns, Montgomery.
Yes.
Date it back a couple hundred years, and there you go.
Yeah, it's a wonderful story. Because
that's where I grew up. For me, that's where it took place.
These are the kind of stories for young kids that sort of give you a sense of family and love, like you say, loving one another.
Yes, Ma and Pa are a huge part of this book, and we even learn with his brothers Phineas and Bill, we see some hardships that they go through, because older brothers, well, they pick on little brothers,
right.
And we learn why this is not okay, and even Wally gains his voice and standing up saying, hey, this is not okay.
Is that something that started early on? You knew that you wanted to write about those subjects, or did it come about?
Yeah, there were some points that I knew I wanted to tackle. I wanted to tackle him not seeing everyone as being equal and him being being bucked, not seeing, everyone as being equal, and seeing there's bullying that takes place, and there's, lying and sneaking around, why these things aren't okay.
That can happen in the world.
Yes. And how maybe a young boy who lives on a poor farm, he's able to stand up for all of this. And I want to inspire kids who maybe think, maybe I'm not the toughest or the biggest or the strongest. Well, I can still solve this problem. I can still help out my community. I can still be a good brother.
Sure.
Still be a good kid. And that's really where Wally comes from.
Do you think everything in your life leads back to writing something? Like, do you see something at the store and you think, I'm going to put that down for notes?
Oh, yeah. I have a running document on Google Docs where it's like, all right, I'm going to write down this one thing. It makes no sense. Like, it'll be like, can of soup. That's important. I swear, that's important.
Do you think that that's the advice that you might give a young writer or someone thinking, I'd love to be published, or I'd love to even get something written down?
Just take notes. And, there's so much in this that came from my own life. And then I just made it fun or different, or I put it into a different perspective. Anyone can write as long as you get inspired, and anything can be inspirational, really. Do
you feel like you have grown as an author, as a person through this process?
Oh, yeah, I've gained a lot of confidence. I'm a very shy, nervous person, and
Well, you don't seem like one.
Right? I've been on TV, I've had photo shoots and newspaper interviews, and it's really helped me grow as a person, and now I've wanted to have my own business for a long time, so this is a dream coming true, which is awesome.
When you saw the entrepreneurial minor available at Lycoming College, did you know, I got to do that?
I had that planned my first semester there. I had it, when you graduate, they put on your thing, here's what you're going to school for. It was on that. I was ready to go with that one. It was last minute that I picked up business administration.
And look what it's done.
I had room in my schedule. I'm like, all right, why not? I'm going to be here anyways.
Well, you self-published this book, An Orange Dog Named Blue, and it has wonderful illustrations on the outside, and you said that you had a person that did the cover art. Who's that?
So this is Caitlin Melisky. She's an artist down in Selinsgrove, PA, who's become a very good friend of mine. She's currently working on the second book cover.
Yeah.
She designed the Hope and Heartland banner, and she also helped me make a digital version of my own logo that I designed, and she's been great to work with. It's been a blast.
So will you ever teach, or do you think that you're just on this author trail?
I am not sure yet. Honestly, that's been something I've debated a lot. But we're going to see where the next couple of years take me.
Well, wonderful. Well, good luck to you for sure. I'm
Thank you.
So excited about writing and creative writing and getting people using pens again. You know what I mean? Let's get them into notebooks and use pens. Is that something, what would you say to anybody moving up through college or maybe even in elementary school? It's just sort of a general opportunity for writing. What do you think you should tell them?
Just have fun. Just write a story. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be good. One of my favorite professional essays is an essay about how the first draft of something is always going to be terrible.
Okay.
And it's true. It's always going to be bad. So just have fun with it. That's what editing's for. You can't edit something if you haven't written something, and you can't perfect something without the editing process.
Okay.
So just write it. It's going to be silly. It's going to have poor grammar. The punctuation's going to not be good. You'll fix it.
And become more confident probably later.
Yeah. You can't have something if you don't try in the first place. So don't be held back. Just do it.
Will we see you on the road? Are you going to be taking Orange Dog Named Blue out to any shows or book signings?
I'm very excited for First Friday coming up in Williamsport. I'm going to have a vendor stand there. I'm going to also be visiting the Montgomery Elementary School and hopefully plenty of other craft fairs and summer fairs with it this summer. I'm very excited. I can't wait.
Will we ever get to see any of the plays that you've already put together out in the world now?
There is a copy of Family Chaos up on the Grand Traveler and Scrim YouTube channel. But definitely keep your eye out because I'm trying to get more shows produced actively, so there might be some coming to the area soon, I hope.
Do you have any friends that are authors that you can call and say, hey, how did you do this? Or get any advice from, or are you blazing the trail?
Oh, I have one friend down in Carlisle, J.K. Whalen. She is fantastic. She does young adult books as well. So we talked about, hey, here's this thing I'm struggling with. She's like, oh, yeah, that's normal. I'm like, okay, cool. Or she'll be like, hey, this thing happened. I have this word that came up in my book misspelled after like 4 editors went through. Yep, that happens. The first edition of this book, spelling errors in it that we've missed. It happens.
It's sure. Well, what does EP stand for, EP?
It's my first and middle initial. It's something I picked to help me keep a little bit of privacy.
Sure.
If something happens, I get married.
It's good to plan ahead.
I have a little bit of privacy still.
EP Klopp, we are so happy that you are able to join us today on In Touch to talk about this book, Orange Dog Named Blue. I'm in the Hope in the Heartland series, hoping that that's going to be an amazing process for you and get you a whole series.
I'm very excited. I have Like I said, I have 3 coming up. I have the one I'm working on, and the next 2 come out in the next few years. So,
do you have a website?
Yes and no. I'm in the process of designing it. It's just not launched yet.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to that coming up here in the next few years. Keep our eye on the local talent. Children's book author E.P. Klopp, so happy to have you here.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
Sharing your book with us, and a really great thing for our Easter Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you.
In Touch is locally produced in our studios at 1685 4 Mile Drive in Williamsport. To get in touch with us regarding questions, comments, or topic ideas, call weekdays between 8 and 5, 570-323-8200. You can also write to us at 1685 4 Mile Drive, Williamsport, PA 17701. Attention Freddi Hammer. Or email me at fhammer@backyardbroadcasting.com. For archived programs of our In Touch series, you can download and subscribe to our new Backyard Podcasting feature through a link on any Backyard Broadcasting website or obtained where podcasts are available. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Backyard Broadcasting. The programming discussed here on In Touch does not necessarily reflect the feelings or opinions of the management or staff. Thanks for listening to In Touch, a production of Backyard Broadcasting.